Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Grampians. Yes, we're still here. We're going home. So, here we go, guys. This here is my 1995 LN106 Toyota Hilux. And, well, basically I've put all my four-wheel drive knowledge and experience and everything else that I could possibly get my hands on and shoved it into this car. So, things are going to be a little bit different and they're going to be a little bit strange. So let's crack into it, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of what I've done to this ute to make it why it's so perfect for me personally. So let's jump into it.
Wake up in the morning, it's a brand new day. Need to grab those keys and fire away. Hit that ignition turbo with some, head down the track and don't look back. This is way off-road adventures. Welcome to All Right 4x4.
First of all, let's start with the tyres. Everyone's favourite topic. Now, these are the previous tyres that I had on the Land Cruiser, the 40 series. And I've also had a set on this Hilux, and I've also had a set on my previous Hilux. All the same, I really do like these tyres. But since having the Salins on the Land Cruiser, I feel like these are a little bit more rigid. I'm not dissing them at all. I reckon they're great tyres, and they've done lots and lots of kilometres and never let me down, unless I've let them down myself. So these are a 33 by 12.5 15 black line Verratio tyre. They're on a set of CSA white steel rims with a -26 offset, so they clear just nice and it's all pretty good. Now, this old girl's also running approximately a 2-inch lift. It might be 2.5 there somewhere. I say that because I don't exactly know. I put it together with bits and pieces I found and other pieces given to me. So extended shackles are a big thing for this thing, and they work, it articulates, and I have no trouble with it. It's fantastic. Now the front shocks here, these are actually from the rear of a 2013 FJ Cruiser, or the rear of a 100 series Land Cruiser. These basically bolt straight in. You do have to modify the bottom bolt hole a little bit to make it a bit bigger, but other than that, they're basically a long travel shock. They're cheap to get, and yeah, I've been running these for quite a while and I've had no issues. They're Toyota, so I ain't complaining. They work. Now while we're gawking underneath the old Hilux, that differential there's been around a few times. That was previously in my single cab Hilux, which is a 4.88 ratio, which means she's geared down quite slow. It's also locked, same as the back, so she's twin locked, auto locked, so I don't have to do a thing. She does it all by herself. True 4-wheel drive. As far as your steering goes, I've got a Superior Engineering steering damper because the old one was well overdue for a change. And of course a heavy duty tie rod. It just neatly ties everything together. Up the front of the Hilux we're running the Light Fox square spotlights. They're not really all that bright, but they're enough to take the edge off. Packing behind this bar is a refurbished, worn XD 9,000 pound winch. Yeah, maybe a little on the softer side of these winches nowadays, being 9,000 pounds, but I'll tell you what, this thing's got a heck of a lot more pull and is a heck of a lot more sturdy than some of the winches on the market today. So we picked this one up off Facebook Marketplace pretty cheap. I think it was like 250 bucks. My dad refurbished it for me, which is great. Thank you, Dad. And it's been a fantastic winch. I've also had this on the previous Hilux. It's never let me down. It's been fantastic. Let's quickly jump underneath the Hilux and I'll show you this. This here is a Superior Engineering transfer case plate. Now what this does is it's built out of a heavy duty steel and it raises the transfer case by about 2 inches and gets rid of that low daggy epoxy factory thing that they had in there. Makes it look much neater and gives you that little bit extra clearance for those difficult situations. So I think that covers all the basics. We got our lift kit, we've sorted out the tyres, and we've sorted the transfer case, that bash plate, suspension, steering. I think that we should jump into the fun stuff now. Let's have a look under the bonnet and I'll show you what's going on. Rightio. This is just your standard run-of-the-mill 2.8 3L Toyota diesel. Nothing special about it whatsoever. We're running a big cat battery. This thing here is 1000 cold cranking amps and it's a 90 amp hour battery, so it's almost a deep cycle, but it's not really. I've also got one of these in the back for my second battery. Yeah, there's not really that much special about the motor. It's just a standard, boring, naturally aspirated Hilux 2.8 diesel. But this is where things get interesting. Now this little unit here is the factory air conditioner. Now of course I've done away with all that because there's no point having an air conditioner in a Hilux that makes no power as it is. So what I've done is I've converted the compressor, well, into basically an air compressor. So now that little doodad will pump up my tyres, and efficiently it does. And as I mentioned in my previous video about the isolator, she just lives down here. Just that little red thing, and I can turn this to off and on however I like. Just the Nirvana one. Navara, you know, one of those flash special brand ones. Just a plastic thing, 100 amps. That's all. Nothing special. That controls my second battery. So I can cut the power from the alternator to the second battery when we're parked. That's basically all that does. I haven't rigged up the solar panel yet, but that is coming. Now inside the old Hilux, we don't have anything special here really. We have a air gauge for the tank, air tank under the tray, which is only about 6 litres. Fire extinguisher, this little gizmo here, which tells me my active tyre pressures. I've got to pump them up a bit by the looks of that. And if you focus down here, we've got my little dash switches. These are my pump switches. That's just a fake one for now, not hooked up to anything. But this is my rear tank pump, and this is my front tank. Not front tank, my factory, my diesel tank. We'll get into that in a little bit. This will start to make sense in a moment. She's packed with just a standard 5-speed G52 box. And up on the dash, we've got a voltmeter and a phone holder. Nothing special going on here at all. Later on, I'm going to put an engine guard here. I've done away with all your music. You don't need that in a Hilux. In the back of Luxy is nothing really important to see. It's just a bench seat. But in here, this is where I keep all my goodies. Ta-da! So we've got my tyre gauge, valve remover, tyre gauge. We've got valve caps and valves. This little doohickey for extra air pressure stuff. Spare batteries and a spare winch controller. Moving down the back to the canopy for a start. Now this thing here, I did have an awning up there, but in my previous experiences, it broke off. So that's been plastic welded back in there with a little plastic welding gun. That's just a bit of cutting board that Dad made up and put in there for me. So thanks, Dad. It's working good. The canopy itself has got these little bolts and clips here because I think it'd be a real pain in the butt to have a canopy that does not come off the back of your ute very easily. And of course, I like to swap and change my mind a lot, and I like to cart things. I like to use the ute for a ute. So I wanted something that I can just take off and on in a matter of like 5 minutes. So all I have to do is undo these clips, pop that down, do that 4 times, and the whole thing will just go and come off. No worries there. In the back here, I've also got my air hose for the rear tank, which is mounted up underneath the tub here. It's only a little 6 litre tank, and it's got a electronic pressure switch in it, so safety. Righto, that sun's in the wrong place, but we can move around to the back now and I can show you what's going on in the back. Oh, we're getting closer to the fun stuff. Now in the back of the Hilux here, I've made myself a false floor. Now this thing is actually really handy. So basically what I can do is I can pull the canopy off, and then the top of the tub will just be completely flat. I can then put the tailgate up and store everything up underneath my false floor without it getting wet or without people looking in being a nuisance. So that's the thing when the canopy's off. What is the whole reason why I put a false floor in the ute in the first place? Well, let's go and suss that out, shall we? Now, as we crawl into the back here, I do warn you, things may not be exactly a perfect science, and they are not, but they work. As I said in one of my previous videos, I don't always do dodgy work, but when I do, it works. Let's have a little gander of this, shall we? First of all, that's my battery box. In here, there's my second cat battery. Nothing special, it's just a standard old cat battery. On the top, I've got my inverter, which works. I can charge all my batteries and things like that, like Ryobi power tools and whatnot. Down here though, that's a little hole in the floor. Now, this whole canopy area is modular, so I can take this out, I can do different little bits and pieces up the front here. This seam here is actually a secondary piece of wood, which I can, after removing the canopy, I can then take out if I want to, and there's another one up underneath the battery box there that I can also take out to allow a bit of room. Now, I've got a little cutout here in the floor, and it's very, very hard to get out. I'm just going to pop your screwdriver in here, pop, take that out. Oh dear, what is that? I'm sorry, did I forget to mention that Hilux has got 2 tanks? There's a good reason for that. It's a kind of dual fuel in a way. It just so happens that I need to refuel this thing, so let's go ahead and do that. Up underneath my little gadget here, we've got me funnel and a rag that I generally keep together so I can clean out my funnel. I'm just going to pop that in there. So just in there, I've got me nice big funnel down in my hole. Right. So, in this part of the video, you may or may not be wondering why I have a fuel tank in the back of the Hilux, underneath everything, covered up with a false floor. Well, first of all, the tank is very awkward, so I needed a false floor for more room. Secondly, this thing, and I can't see very well, so I'm probably going to slop it everywhere. This thing is actually, hey, I got it. Now this second tank is actually full of vegetable oil. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. I'm running this thing mostly on used cooking oil. So there you go. All I do is take it home and filter it and process it and then tip it in the tank when I need it. And the Hilux runs it just perfectly fine. So that's the whole idea of this thing. And because the Hilux is set up for this, I can also run other alternative fuels. And if necessary, I can put diesel in it as well. Now that's a funny looking colour diesel, isn't it? And that there is how you refuel the Hilux. Now generally when I do bigger trips I carry a 110 litre bag around with me, or I hook onto the trailer and take that. But this setup allows me to run basically any fuel. My primary source is vegetable oil, but I can also run diesel in the tank as a long range tank, or I can run sump oil, transmission fluid, basically anything that goes bang under pressure, apart from petrol. Do not do that. No way. But yes, other than petrol, that's how she operates. Oh well, I've also got my little dipstick that I made here, so just to check, chuck that in. Yeah, we're sitting about, oh, I've got a bit more in it than I thought I did. Double dip. Where are we sitting? Oh yeah, a bit over half a tank. Very nice. There we go, put my bung back in. Don't want to tighten it up all the way because technically this tank doesn't have a vent yet. I've got to make one, so I'll just leave the cap a little bit loose. Drop that in. Job done. And now I'm guessing you can see why I put the fridge on that side. It's because I can remove the fridge, access all my fuel storage and everything like that, all on that one side. Then I can slip the fridge back in, no dramas. And I can refuel the tank or muck around with it anytime I like. All I have to do is pull the fridge out. So, up here for thinking. But, in you go. get in there. Okay, there she is. Now, the plug on this fridge is dodgy. It has been for quite a long time, and actually when I designed this whole canopy thing, I didn't design it for this fridge. This is actually the fridge that's been sitting in my shed. It's actually designed for my XTM fridge in here, which fits perfectly. This is just a bit wider, so a little bit more awkward. It still fits, but that plug is consistently annoying. All right, there she is. Okay, it's turned on. That is good. And of course, in the back of the ute, there isn't really that much to talk about. This is my camp box. If you watched the Subaru video, that's the same camp box. My recovery gear. The only thing different really is this little bit. And that lid is so tight I can't open it. I'll have to wait for another day. But yeah, it's got all my spares and stuff in it for the oiling system. Spare 20 litres live in there. Make sure that always goes to the top. Oh, that funnel's in the way. Come here. There we go. Right. In. Because I said in. Cool. Stick that in there. Screwdriver has a nice little hole here in the floor. Conveniently, I just put that in there. Spare bag. My carpet that I used to kneel on, because that tailgate's hard. Yeah, I'm going to fix that. I'll put something else on the tailgate. And yeah. So that is pretty well the back of Luxie. So really, I suppose there isn't a whole lot going on. Just a vehicle with a whole lot of my personal experience packed into one little container, I suppose you could say. It's taken a lot of work to get this far and to work out all the things that I like and I don't like, but basically this thing has, how old am I? 28. 28 years of experience and trial and error packed into this one car, and well, you never stop learning, so it's probably going to change again at some point. But that's basically the back of the Hilux. That's pretty well all I can show you. It's pretty simple, it's pretty basic, and yes, it does have an alternative fuel system on it, which is fantastic. I took Mum over to the snow in the high country a little while ago. That was a great trip, but we didn't see any snow, but we had a great time. So that turned out to be about just under 2,000 kilometers round trip back home, and that solely run on oil the whole way. But yeah, so I can't reveal all my secrets to the old Hilux. There's a little bit more that goes on to make it be able to run that sort of stuff. It's not much, but this here is a Land Cruiser 60 series mirror that, well, I bought off eBay pretty cheap. I needed some mirrors because the original ones suck. So I wanted to go a little bit sort of in between the original factory ones that I had on the single cab Hilux, the big extended mirrors that come out here. And I wanted something that looks neat. No, I just went with the 60 series ones. They fit, they work, they haven't flown off yet. They're a little bit cheap and plasticky, but the only downside to, other than that, is the fact that they don't really fit the contours of the body very well, but well, they haven't flown off yet, so that's something. And the visibility out of them is actually pretty good. They do shake a little bit, but what do you expect for 25 bucks? I've also fitted up Luxie with a drop drag link. And I've also extended rubber brake lines, front and back. Nothing special, but it works. The front tail shaft has a spacer, which it always has had. Never any issues. So let's have a quick look at these valves, shall we? If you'll focus your attention over here, these are my fuel tap switching valves. So simply all you've got is an on-off switch for your main feed in, an on-off switch for your return, and same again on the diesel. So I've got a black lever here, that's for my diesel return, which is stuck, there we go, on and off. And then another one over here behind my power steering pump, that's the main diesel feed in. And over behind the pump, I have a fuel pump for the diesel, so that's my diesel fuel pump. There, that controls sort of this little setup here. So I run two pumps. I've got a diesel pump, which is that little clicky clacky just there, and I've got the same pump in the back for the vegetable oil, which helps it pump up to the front. These pumps help really well when it comes to purging and bleeding the system and just general mucking around with fuel stuff. It just makes life so much easier. The whole reason why I got a pump on the diesel side is there's two reasons for that. One is that this thing has a bad habit of losing its prime. These little things here, that primer, they have a little rubber diaphragm in the top and they pack up. They no longer work and they suck air. With that little clicky-clacky pump in there, it prevents that and makes the engine run sweeter. Second reason is because Hiluxes don't have a fuel pump as such on them. They rely solely on the injection pump to boost the fuel pressure. So the quicker we can get this fuel up here to the motor, the easier it is to purge, the easier it is to bleed, all the etc. and fun stuff. So that's all that. And this snorkel here is actually from an LN106 Hilux, if I got that right. The model previous to this one. It doesn't fit quite perfectly, but I had a spare sitting in the shed and that's what that was. So I didn't spend any money on the snorkel, I just fitted it on there. It vibrates a lot. I haven't worked that kink out yet, but it works. And it's sealed up quite nicely. So as you can see, it's been bent out of shape here. It is a little bit awkward. It's not a direct straight through fit because these snorkels here are longer in the older models than they are on this one. So I had to modify that so it fits the factory airbox. So for those of you that wonder about the little horseshoe on the front, this is good luck. That's why we call it Luxy. It's been on the vehicle since I bought it. It's been on the old vehicle since I bought it. And then I swapped it to this one and that's where she's staying. The whole bar and everything come off the old vehicle. So yeah, I just cleaned her up a bit and that's where she's staying. Good luck. Good luck, Luxy. So there you have it, guys. That is my little gem of a Hilux. And well, I can't really tell you much more than that. It's just a fantastic vehicle. It's always gotten me out of thick and thin. Purposely built to get me out of things and not me get into them. So, so yeah, dual cab Hilux for the win. Alternative fuel for the win. And we'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, comments, or anything else, drop them down in the little box thingy at the bottom. All the links that you need to do if you'd like to support the channel are in the description. Check out Just Cosy for some merch. And jump over to our Facebook, our socials at Warrior 4x4 if you want to know a little bit more. Otherwise, send us an email, something like that. And yeah, we aim to bring you guys some good content. So that's the Hilux. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now, not forever. Ta-ta. And of course, with the extra lift, I needed to get some proper shockers that'll actually do the job properly. So these are Superior Engineering's 3-inch extended shocks, and they suit this application just perfectly.